Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Star Wars Rogue One figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at the Star Wars Celebration Japan exclusive Galen Erso. Now, I got mine courtesy of my good mate Tom. He picked up one for me at Celebration, but if you're looking to grab this, Pop Collectibles does have him in stock in limited quantities on their website. Link for that in the description. I've also added in the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Star Wars content goes live on the channel. Quick question for you all watching, then we can get stuck into it. How do you feel about Hot Toys making Galen Erso, Mads Mikkelsen in 1/6 scale, something we've been waiting for years, a true convention exclusive? Like, you physically have to be there in Japan to get this, otherwise you're picking it up on the aftermarket. I prefer exclusive packaging variants like what they did with Darth Vader Sith Apprentice over and above this approach. As for the box art, it slaps. It is stunning. This bright red strip down the middle in high gloss featuring a photo of Mads. That's not the actual figure, unfortunately. Big, bold, shiny silver Star Wars logo. His name in metallic silver foil. Then the panels on either side of the front image, they're done in this really rough textured finish. There's a lot of contrast going on, not just with the finishes, but the colors as well. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. I mean, look at this freaking box all the way around, the red and black color scheme. I kind of want to display it behind Galen. I would if I had room to do so. Unfortunately, I simply don't. It even makes the warnings and legal information look good around the back. Bright red strip in the middle. They've also printed their store locations back there. Oh, Hot Toys, you are spoiling us. Wireframe red image of the Death Star on a black background? I mean, I don't mind if I do. That would have also made for some really cool key art on the front of the box. Not complaining with what we got, though. This is probably one of the best looking Star Wars boxes I've seen in a while. First in-hand impressions for Galen? So far, so good. The tailoring is extremely sharp, and that head sculpt, chef's kiss. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the dark box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. For a character like Galen to come with this much stuff, I mean, it's not a ton, but I was expecting significantly less. They were very clever with their accessory selection. Starting off with the display base first. Nothing special here, it's the usual Star Wars rectangular Imperial look flooring base mold. Sculpted tile detail up top, done in gunmetal with a bit of a sheen to it, some reflectivity right there, you can see it. Silver chipping around the edges of the tiles, that looks good. Star Wars and Galen Erso for the etched nameplate, then up top, a height adjustable crotch grabber. For the smaller stuff, let's do this rapid fire. The SE-14R blaster pistol, one of my all-time favorite Star Wars blaster pistol designs. Huge sight up top, makes no sense for what's essentially a pistol. We've got the charging handle on one side, texture for the grip, it's painted in black with some strategically placed silver chipping on it. For the rest of this stuff, I'm struggling to pick my favorite accessory of the bunch. It might be this one, because it's the most dynamic of the three. Why is it dynamic? Well, translucent blue plastic, light passes through it, and it kinda makes it look like it's glowing. Would I have liked an actual light source in this hologram projected down below as small as it is? Yeah, probably, but I simply don't think that's possible given the size of it. They've improved this quite dramatically since the last time we got it with Jin. The sculpt is the same, still the translucent windows top and bottom, but the shiny gold paint looks so much better on Galen's, and the barcodes are nicer. There's this circuitry detail up top, plus the circuitry printed on these translucent frosted windows. Imperial code cylinders, not much to write home about with these. They're done in this shiny metallic chrome, and they slot into these pockets on his outfit. I'll show you where they go later. More Death Star plans. This is a much more compact data disc version. There's some black paint in the crevices, so that detail work pops. Silver is very shiny, and so too is the gold. And lastly, some hands. We don't get a full array. We don't get pairs of every single one of them, but at least they give us 2 relaxed open palm hands. These are already installed on him right out of the box. And the detail is crazy. The shading on the knuckles, the vein work, the wrinkling right there, the painted cuticles. Plus the gestures look very natural. Different from left to right, they're unique sculpts. So it's not like they've done the sculpt once and then flipped it in their digital sculpting software. They are proper individual sculpts. For the left side, a gripping hand may be meant to be used with the Death Star plans, and on the right, a pinching gesture of sorts, also for the Death Star plans. 2 more right ones, a closed fist with his thumb sticking out, and a trigger finger hand. The fingers are soft enough you can pry them open, pop the blaster in there, easy as. What we're going to do now is get Galen himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the dark box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. To complete the look though, I've popped the code cylinders in his pockets, and I've moved his eyes off to one side to make him a bit more interesting. With him simply standing there, this figure has presence. Thanks in part to this being Mads Mikkelsen, of course, but the outfit does a lot of the heavy lifting, the tailoring being as good as it is, we'll get stuck into it, and the head sculpt. Even from a distance, the likeness is jumping out at me. I can tell who this is immediately. 3/4 turn side profile. This might sound like a stretch, but from behind, yeah, that is Galen Erso. He could have been a really simple, basic, boring figure, but they took something that might not have presented as exciting on paper, and they completely won me over. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Galen's head sculpt. Holy shit, that's a masterpiece of a head sculpt. Normally I'd say a sculpt is close to being perfect, but it needs moving eyes or something else to set it over the top. Not the case with Galen. I'm just going to say it, screw it. This is a perfect Mads Mikkelsen head sculpt for me. Right there, the likeness to Mads, 10 out of 10. And then just detail-wise, the wrinkling, the vein work right there on his temples, the crow's feet, the frown lines, how deep they are, how textured they are, the hairline with the individual strands of hair and the scalp poking through, the 5 o'clock shadow with some grey thrown in, it all feels very authentic to Mads. The expression, it's got this subtle confidence about it, the sculpt itself, and I really like that for his character of Galen. The hair is a separate piece of plastic over the top, so this strand, even if you happen to bump it when you're moving the head sculpt round, shouldn't be a problem. There is some extra detail underneath the collar for his Adam's apple and some neck beard plus skin texture, but the collar sits very high, so you're pretty much never going to see that stuff. Even the way they've done the little hair strands, that to me looks like hair sitting over the top of a collar. It actually casts a shadow on the material underneath it. There's a lot of flow and texture for the hair, this almost metallic dry brush that gives it this shiny look. Then they've integrated the seam line into the sculpt work so well that from most angles it just blends in. You're never going to be able to see it. It is not an eyesore. It's still there, but it's not overly ugly, unlike what we saw with Palpatine from the Clone Wars, for example. Removing this back hair panel, the magnets are no longer glued on the surface. they're underneath these black plastic pieces. So magnets coming unglued should be a thing of the past. Moving the eyes around, it's pretty straightforward to do. You don't even need to grab the tool if you don't want to, because there's plenty of access inside the head sculpt. Let's do some rapid fire eye position tests, see what works best with this piece. You all know me, there's no two ways about it. Yes to side eye, always yes to side eye. It just makes head sculpts characters look more interesting. And for Mads, this dark shading above his eyes, then the redness underneath it, something about the way they've painted this sculpt and the expression, side eye just makes it look even better to me. Ooh, but now off to the other side, head tilt forward, it brings the fringe back into focus, and seeing as though they spent a lot of time making sure the fringe looks great, this is probably the eye position I'm going to end up going with. I've seen a lot of people post pictures like this, the dead-eyed stare look, because they're not quite sure how to adjust moving eyes properly. I would suggest always leaving a little bit of white underneath the pupils and irises. Otherwise, you will have that uncanny valley thing going on, and that you absolutely want to avoid. Now we can move on to his outfit. There's not much more to say, really, other than the tailoring is next level good. Like, it's exceptionally sharp. All of the stitching looks good. There's a ladder stitch on one side because he's actually sewn into this jacket. You can't remove it for those wondering. The code cylinders do slot into these pockets up top, and the clips sit over the edge of the pocket. They're meant to lock the code cylinders in place, but if you get crazy with the posing, they will come out. I would dial in the pose first, then situate those code cylinders. If you'd have asked me prior to this guy being announced, if we were ever to get a 1/6 scale Galen, which outfit would I like him to come wearing? My top answer simply wouldn't have been this one. I like it. I like it more now that I have this guy in hand, but the Imperial costume, all green with the Jodhpur pants and the rank badge, or even what he was wearing in the opening scene, my two top choices. Now that I have him, going with the scientist uniform with this white section up top that's almost like a light bluish grey. It's a textured fabric, there's multiple panels, and he's got the high collar, which, as we've discussed, I think is a little bit too high. It draws your eyes up towards the head sculpt, which is arguably the star of the show, so clever choice with this outfit versus the other options. I'd still like his full-on Imperial suit, though. A lot of folks have speculated that they wouldn't give us a Galen head sculpt, make an all-new sculpt for Mads Mikkelsen if they weren't going to make it. Fingers crossed they do. Now, I'm 99% sure this is the Project Stardust badge or symbol of sorts on his right shoulder. It's screen printed on there. On the left side, nothing, just the green textured fabric. Speaking of that green textured fabric, there's almost a color shift to it. There's some grey thrown in, a little bit of black, the individual strands, as light bounces off the surface. Those colors reveal themselves. There's so much movement in this green fabric thanks to that texture. It's a way of adding visual interest to a suit that otherwise would have looked pretty basic if they'd have just gone with green, no texture, no color shift. And then the way it's been cut, how the top vest, skirt, shirt cinches in around the waist. There's some padding to accentuate his physique. Then we've got the belt that's tight around his waist as well. Bright silver belt buckle, real metal stud. I think the belt itself is made of pleather though. It's attached with Velcro around the back. Don't love the pleather, but at least it looks good for now. I mean, look at the pants. The wrinkling in 1/6 scale looks true to scale. We've got this pleat down the front. No pockets, I believe. Nope, that's a lie. There are some pockets, and they're real ones too. You can pop his hands in there. I wouldn't do that because Galen Erso isn't about the hands in the pockets look. He's got some mid-high boots on, and they're sculpted plastic, not pleather. Wrinkling, stitching, these textured panels. There's a bit of weathering around the soles. There's some sculpted detail around the back for the heel. The weathering is so subtle that it looks like it's not there maybe on camera, but I assure you in person, it's a lot more obvious. For a quick side-by-side comparison, the Mikkelsen brothers standing next to each other, Mads on the left, Lars on the right, Galen Erso, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I might display them together, I'm not sure yet. For now, I've got Thrawn with the Ahsoka figures, and Galen's gonna be with the Rogue One pieces, but I could rejig the collection to make this work. If you're wondering about the height difference, Mads in real life is 6 foot, Lars is 6'4". This looks about right to me. Ooh, Director Krennic, one of the standout performances in Rogue One and/or Season 2. Ben Mendelsohn owns the role. In 1/6 scale, Krennic is a hair shorter than Galen. In real life, Ben is 5'11", so he should be ever so slightly shorter than Mads at 6 foot. This is pulling on the heartstrings. Galen Erso, Jyn Erso, father and daughter standing next to each other. I liked seeing Mads next to Lars, but in-universe father and daughter, this is too good of a display opportunity to pass up. Jyn is such an underrated figure. If you've got Galen on the way and you don't have Jyn, get her. Going over articulation, starting off with Galen's head sculpt. Ball joint at the base of the neck, his high collar will get in the way a bit. Looking forward to there, up to there, swivel and pivot side to side. His arms will go up to there. You can tuck the excess fabric for his sleeves under his shoulder pads for more range if you need it. Forward and back on ratchets. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. You can get the arms pretty much flush by his sides. There's a little gap, but I'm okay with that. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow on ratchets. His sleeves aren't quite long enough to cover up the wrist pegs at a max elbow bend, so be aware of that. Speaking of the wrist pegs, ratcheted hinges and swivels. His torso crunches forward to there, restricted by some padding, going back to there, also restricted. Swivel and pivot side to side. His legs will go forward to there? Really? Like there's some padding, but I thought they'd go further. They max out pretty quickly going forward. Going out to there, further than forward at least. Swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee, going past 90, no problem. And then relatively low cut boots and a double ball peg for the ankles. Good for forward and back, swivel, and plenty of ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is he is so freaking good. One of the best head sculpts I've ever seen from them. Incredible tailoring and great accessories. Why is that an annoying thing? Well, because he's a true exclusive, a lot of people are going to miss out on him, and that is a darn shame. The second annoying thing is, for those of you who don't know, Mads Mikkelsen is left-handed, and we only get 2 switch-out hands for the left side, but 4 for the right. At least give us pairs of hands, Hot Toys. This is ridiculous. The third annoying thing, the sneaky devils. For once, they weren't able to give a Star Wars figure pleather boots, so what did they make out of pleather instead? His belt, of course. They still somehow managed to sneak some pleather in here. The first cool thing is, if you think about it, Galen isn't really an accessory-heavy character. Like, what do you give him? He doesn't interact with much stuff in the movie. So including 3 different versions of Project Stardust is a very clever way of getting around that. The second cool thing is the outfit. It's been a while since I've seen Star Wars tailoring that looks this good, that's so form-fitting. The fabric is incredibly lightweight, there's this textured weave to it. It might have come across boring if they'd have not sewn it right or used the wrong fabric. Luckily, they didn't. The third cool thing is how well integrated the seam is for the removable back hairpiece. You can still sort of see it from certain angles, but thanks to Mads' flowing locks, if you're not looking for it, I highly doubt it's going to throw anything off for you. Wrapping up on Hot Toys Star Wars Celebration Japan, exclusive Rogue One Galen Erso. This piece, I believe, if you can swing it budget-wise, if you've got room for it in the collection, is a must-have. Rogue One, pretty sure we can all agree is one of, if not the single best Disney Star Wars movie to have been made to date. I will die on that hill. And Mads Mikkelsen in Star Wars, I never thought I'd see the day, but we sure as shit saw it. And now in 1/6 scale, getting Galen to have next to Krennic, or Death Troopers, or his brother, Lars Mikkelsen as Grand Admiral Thrawn, or better yet, Galen Erso, how can you pass up that chance? Will they make another non-exclusive Galen in the future for those who missed out on this? Certainly possible, but I also wouldn't put it past them not doing that. So now is the time before this guy is sold out and super expensive on the aftermarket. Pick him up while you can. I don't think you're going to regret it. Now, I got mine thanks to my awesome mate Tom. He grabbed this for me at Star Wars Celebration Japan in person, but if you're looking to pick one up, I've popped a link to Pop Collectibles in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.